So you're always interpreting. This means for suffering, we never just suffer the thing that we're suffering. We always suffer the way that we're suffering the thing that we're suffering. I'll say that again. Some of you are looking at me thinking, please. We never just suffer the thing that we're suffering. We always also suffer the way that we're suffering the thing that we're suffering. We have a profound ability to trouble our own trouble. Turn back with me to Psalm 27. Just want to look at verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is a stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? You will notice that Psalm 27, although it's a psalm of trouble, doesn't begin with trouble. It begins with theology. Nothing is more important in a moment of trouble than the true, crisp, reliable theology of the Word of God. And the way that David is holding on to his theology here is very important. The Lord is light. In the broadest sense, that word picture means what is pure and true and righteous and holy. The Lord is salvation. In its biggest, broadest term, He delivers from evil. The Lord is stronghold, a place of safety. The Lord is light. The Lord is salvation. The Lord is stronghold. Now, I'm about to confuse you here. But what I've given you is bad, unbiblical. It will hurt your theology. Do you know why? Does anybody know? Because I've left out a word. I left it out 3 times. In verse 1, you know what the word was? Anybody? My. David is not saying somewhere off out there is a God who's light. Somewhere off out there there's salvation. Somewhere out there there's stronghold. He's not saying that. He's saying, speaking better than he knows, glorious grace has connected me to this one who is light. Glorious grace has connected me to this one who is salvation. Glorious grace has connected me to this one who is stronghold. The Lord is light for me. The Lord is salvation for me. The Lord is stronghold for me. There better be a my in the middle of your theology. Because good theology doesn't just define who God is. Listen to me carefully. Good theology redefines who you are as a child of God. You don't get your identity from your friends. You don't get your identity from your experiences. You don't get your identity from your performance. You don't get your identity from your possessions. You don't get your identity from your health. You get your identity from your theology. From what it tells you about who God is, and therefore the glory of who you are as one of His children. We cannot hold our theology in an abstract, distant, and personal way. That is a violation of the theology of the Word of God. Theology is a shorthand for the story of the Redeemer who is now in you and with you and for you. Theology always connects you to grace. It always connects you to Jesus. It always connects you to His promises. And in that way, always defines your identity. Now, I've already begun talking about this, but I want to talk more about this. One of the ways we trouble our trouble is bad theology. Bad theology that doesn't bring the glory of the gospel of Jesus Christ in the kinds of ways that are needed when you're going through these difficult experiences that expose you to all kinds of temptation. Let me say this: suffering is spiritual warfare. Suffering exposes you to particular, seductive, and attractive, but devastating temptations. You could argue that suffering will always either deepen your faith and your rest in God and your affection for your Redeemer, or it will weaken the same. Suffering is a battleground. It's a warfare. And so we want to arm ourselves for that battle with the beautiful theology of the Word of God.